Trump's true profile might look like. Have you ever thought that Donald Trump's profile might have some characteristics in common with some really great men in the history of the United States? Men such as Andrew Carnegie, or Alexander Hamilton, or William Penn, or even Christopher Columbus? All of these people I just named have some significant characteristics in common, and these are the characteristics of what I would call the true entrepreneur. And I'm going to read you a list shortly. There are 16 items in the list, and you'll have to decide how many of those items fit President Trump. But first, I want to make a distinction between what I call the business entrepreneur and the true entrepreneur. Because a business entrepreneur takes a rather matter-of-fact approach to starting a business. They'll research the business, they may do a feasibility study, they'll do a business plan, and then they'll decide to go whether do I go in the business or not. The true entrepreneur, on the other hand, sees an opportunity, sees a problem or a detail that other people tend to miss, and they seize that and they create an opportunity out of it, and they parlay that into a multi-million-dollar business, or they can also fail with great gusto. So, in looking for that type of profile, those types of characteristics, it's been speculated that approximately 13% of the population in the United States has these characteristics of the true entrepreneur. Now, here's the checklist, and I'll give you the title of the book later, but for right now, here are the characteristics of a typical, as I said, true entrepreneur. He is filled with energy. He is flooded with ideas. He is driven, restless, unable to keep still. He channels his energy into achievement of wildly grand ambitions. He often works on little sleep. He feels brilliant, special, chosen, perhaps even destined to change the world. He can be euphoric. He becomes easily irritated by minor obstacles. He is a risk taker. He overspends both in his business and personal life. He acts out sexually. He sometimes acts impulsively, with poor judgment, in ways that can have painful consequences. He is fast-talking. He is witty and gregarious. His confidence can make him charismatic and persuasive. He is also prone to making enemies and feels he is persecuted by those who do not accept his vision and mission. Now, out of those characteristics, I'll leave it to you to decide how many might fit President Trump. And remember that a significant number of these characteristics fit many men that we refer to as great leaders in our history. And as an executive and life coach since 2001, I would like to add a few things to that list. In coaching entrepreneurs, I have found that the true entrepreneur always plays to win, and they absolutely hate to lose. And sometimes the motivation not to lose is greater than the motivation that pushes them forward to win. And note that some would observe in recent decades, the attitude of our country has shifted from always playing to win to a country that pretty much plays not to lose. Now think about that. If you're playing the game to win, how are you going to play the game? But if you're playing the game not to lose, how are you going to play the game different? The true entrepreneur can be unpredictable. He keeps you guessing. That's one of the ways they win. They like to stir the pot to see what will stir up from the bottom. They enjoy change. And if you talk to people who work for a true entrepreneur, it's not unusual for them to say things like, if he'd stay out of the shop, if he'd stay out of the store, if he'd stay out of the office, we could run everything just fine. He screws everything up every time he comes to the door. Just, no. The true entrepreneur loves to live on the edge because, wow, what a view. And if you don't like living on the edge, you're going to be in that sort of risky, uncomfortable position with a true entrepreneur. Now, you have to listen carefully to the true entrepreneur because they talk in order to think. Don't make the mistake of thinking that when they've reached a conclusion, they've actually reached a conclusion. They could be actually in mid-thought, and once they go into the next room and come out an hour or a day later, they've had further insight, they've had further information, they've discovered something else, they've had a new idea about that situation, and then they come out with a new conclusion. So again, don't make the mistake of thinking that a conclusion is final when new information or new insights or ideas can impact that conclusion and turn it completely around sometimes. Which leads me to the next thing about the true entrepreneur is messy. They thrive in chaos. They create chaos. They can be both the arsonist and the fireman. They bog down in details. They hate doing paperwork. So details and paperwork are best left to people who enjoy doing that type of thing. Relationships tend to suffer because most people find it kind of difficult to keep up with the true entrepreneur. And contrary to what a lot of people might think, the true entrepreneur is really not crazy. They just see things very differently from the average person. Where the average person sees a closed door and high risk, the true entrepreneur sees opportunity and possibility, and they don't shy away from taking that risk. They don't shy away from acting on a gut feeling. They do the dance in the moment to whatever music is playing, and then they change the music. The true entrepreneur values speed and control over quality and accuracy. If they're forced to choose, speed and control is their preference. And they tend to be pretty good at damage control when they make mistakes. And mistakes tend to be the price they pay for their education. The big thing to remember about the true entrepreneur is that they do not come with warning labels, they do not come with an operator's manual, they do not come with an antidote. Don't expect consistency, don't expect stability and a steady pace. Remember that stress, risk, and overload bring out their best. And if you have a true entrepreneur in your life, try to enjoy the adventure. If you want to know more about the psychological makeup of the true entrepreneur, the book I quoted earlier was The Hypomanic Edge, The Link Between a Little Craziness and a Lot of Success in America by John D. Gartner, PhD. And if you are an entrepreneur and you'd like someone outside of your circle to be your confident thought partner and idea developer who won't steal your ideas, or if you want to know more about working with an entrepreneur, or if you're already trying to work with an entrepreneur, you might need a coach. So get in touch with me. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also find me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and Twitter. And remember, this is Coach Mack, wanting for you to be, do, and have more of what you really want in your life.